Just give it. Yep, there we go.
Right, so we are live. As of going live, it is the 6th of March, 2024, just after the core algorithm update, and also we had a spam update as well. And we're with, obviously, Julian Goldie on his YouTube channel, but we want to discuss what has recently happened in the past 24 hours, maybe even 12 hours since the actual core algorithm update. So, Julian, if you want to take the lead.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, basically, obviously, the Google Core Update 2024, March 2024, was just announced about 12 hours ago. And checked some of my websites' rankings this morning, everything totally fine. In fact, some websites actually went up in rankings recently. Some of my sites have been, in fact, all my public case studies have been taken down and de-indexed from Google. So it was a bit of a surprise, but I'm surprised it also took this long. Like, it was always going to be a risk.
Yeah, I think that one thing that is surprising is that the time that it took. Like, for example, you've had the likes of Charles Float that have been personally attacked. Like all of his public sites at one point went down. Kyle Roof got personally attacked, and all of his test websites went down. I think he probably had about 100, 150 test websites, all on separate Gmails, etc. And then Google essentially just de-indexed their websites, very similar to what's happened here. So one thing that I want to ask you is, why do you think they've went after the Julian Goldie brand? Do you think that you potentially had a winning SEO strategy? What was the reasoning, do you think?
Yeah, I think I was probably a bit too loud about the strategies that were working right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also, maybe they were worried about it getting into the wrong hands as well, because everything that I show works really well. So, for example, I've got a bunch of private case studies in the background that I've never revealed. In fact, I've got over 100 sites in the background that are all indexed and all ranking really well using exactly the same strategies. So I think it's just a case of, probably quite loud. It was getting a lot of attention. It might have been put into the wrong hands sometimes, which I absolutely don't advocate. Like, for example, if people were creating spam in like the health niche or something like that, that would be something I absolutely go against. And I think I was just sharing so much of what was happening that it was because of that. I don't think it was AI sites, because again, all my sites that are ranking in the background privately are doing just as well. They're all indexed, they're all ranking really well. So
yeah, I think the biggest thing that we always need to look at in this scenario is, like, when we're talking about AI content, or when we're talking about essentially that process line of producing content, you looked at the SERPs and they were really bad in some cases. And I'm not singling out your websites, because you look at like majority of the SERPs and you're like, wow, why is that website ranking position 1? Why is that website ranking position 2? Why is Quora ranking position 5 and 6 or whatever else? So I think that the biggest thing is, and this is coming from somebody that owns an AI writing tool, I think that Google's done a good job by cleaning up all the bad quality content. And I think that, like, my next question to you, and you've kind of already answered this, is, do you think it was it an attack on AI content?
No, I think it was a personal attack, because it was only the public case studies. And yeah, it was a personal attack on those websites. But I mean, I say personal attack. It's not like I have any hard feelings against it, and I'm definitely no victim here.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen. I've talked about it on previous videos before, and it was just a matter of time. So I take it as a compliment.
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing in the actual PDF that they released, or the webpage that they released, is they don't care if it's AI content or if it's human written content. It's actually the quality of the content. So, for example, if I was to go and write an article on, I don't know, how to cure cancer, right? And I'm not a cancer expert by any means. And if, say, for example, if I was able to rank that, then there is a massive flaw in Google's algorithm. So, if anything, it's good what they have actually been able to do and reduce the spamminess or the low quality pages that people were able to mass produce.
Yeah,
Which,
100%. Yeah, I
which,
think it's good that they're cleaning up some of the SERPs because, like you were saying, like some really dodgy stuff was ranking
mhm.
for very, very black hat industries, and I think it was about time that they cleaned it up. So
Yeah.
it's really good to see that. I think that's a great move for Google, and I think they've got a good future based on that.
So, how many websites have been impacted, Julian?
So far, from what I've checked, it was really just like 5 or 10
Five or
websites that I publicly talked about a lot. So yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those.
And then how many websites haven't been impacted that you've not shared on your YouTube and shouted about?
At least 100. At least.
So, I mean, I think this leads me on to my next question. Is your SEO strategy changing?
So for me, everything that I'm doing publicly, and all these sites have got hit, those strategies are working really well still in the background. So if you look at my other sites, they all rank really well. And for me, I'm not going to change anything in terms of the AI SEO strategies I use or something like that. I think I'm just going to focus on what's working.
Mhm.
And for me, I know there's a lot of people out there who give advice, but I like to personally test and experiment with everything and see what
Yeah.
works and see what doesn't. And that's also why I have some public case studies and some private ones, because it's good to share and help people who are watching and everyone on YouTube who's trying to grow a business or feed the family with SEO and make money. But for me, I will still share publicly
Mhm.
what's working. I just won't be so public about the case studies. And I think I'll probably have to keep those privately in my SEO mastermind, because if I keep revealing public case studies, they're just going to keep getting hit. And so I have to keep them private now and just share them with the members only.
Yeah, that, to be honest, that like a lot of the big named SEOs, they don't publicly showcase their websites. I think the very first time that I actually came across your YouTube channel, I was actually a bit blown away because the fact that you were sharing the URLs publicly made you almost like a sitting duck for Google to come along and be like, "Who's this Julian Goldie guy talking about chipper birds or whatever else?" All right, minus 100% or manual action or whatever else. So I think fair play to you that you did showcase the public websites and you basically let people view the websites live and stuff. But I always had in the back of my head, and I think like we've spoke about this multiple times. I've said I'm surprised Google haven't come for you before now. Basically, it took them about a year. Um, to out you. But yeah, I think that's my biggest like shock moment from this. The amount of time that actually took for them to come and hit you.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a matter of time, and I'm surprised as well. I thought it was going to happen way sooner, but like I say, no hard feelings towards Google. I respect them as a brand, and I think they have to do that. Like they're probably forced to do that. So I totally understand why they did it. I still
Mhm.
think that AI content works really well, and I've seen still, like I say, so many of my AI sites are ranking really well in the background. So that's the thing. And for me, whatever happens in the future, even if I don't do public case studies so much, I'm still going to share everything that happens, right? I'm still going to share everything that works for me. So I have an in-house testing team working on today's algorithms, working not on what people say, but what actually works in today's algorithm. I'm still going to share whatever happens, and I have no emotional attachment. For me, I just
Yeah.
seek the truth, and that's all part of the fun.
I think the biggest reason why you were able to grow your YouTube channel is the fact that you were sharing what works, and what works basically means that there might be like, I don't know, 100 people watching you, or probably more than 100 actually. Some of your videos have got like 60, 70,000 views,
Yeah.
but you're able to very quickly, with no BS, say to people, right, if you go on LinkedIn Pulse, do this, it'll rank. If you go on Quora, do this, it'll rank. If you go on Outlook India, do this, it'll rank. And at the end of the day, you're indirectly helping people provide food, provide like be able to pay their bills at the end of the day using what some people might call SEO hacks, right? And again, that's nothing against you. You're just showcasing to people what works and what doesn't work. So they're instead of hitting their website with GSA links that we both know doesn't work, they're focusing on the actual needle pushers, as some people would call it. So they are being able to publish on Outlook India, LinkedIn Pulse, and whatever else there is. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've took from your YouTube channel. It's a shame that it's happened to the Julian Goldie brand. And you can clearly tell, like we've prior to actually going live, I've looked at how many Google Search Consoles, quite a lot, and it's literally every single website that Julian's showcased on his YouTube channel. So you can very easily tell that it was a public or a personal attack against Julian. I think fair play to you, mate. I think Google's essentially seen Julian Goldie as almost like a threat. It's a shame that this was the strategy that they went down, but you're clearly doing something right.
Yeah, that's it. And I can only control the controllables, right? Like I can only focus on what I can control. And if these things happen, they happen, and I'm just sharing what works. I think for me as well, like you say, I'm trying to share and help people. You know, everything that I show publicly quite often is better than paid content behind the scenes and behind closed doors. And I get people reaching out to me, thanking me every day. So I'm really appreciative of that and everyone watching. The other thing I would say is like, I'm still grateful to Google for the opportunities. Like for me, for example, they've given me the opportunity to build an online business and to travel the world and to have total freedom and even retire my mom. And I think that's a beautiful thing about SEO and sharing all these tactics like you and I do on our YouTube channels is that we can help more people, and the more people you help, the better, right? That's a positive impact.
What I was going to ask you, do you have any resentments towards Google? But I don't, and I don't think you do either.
No, I mean I respect their decision. I think they've done the right thing, probably, you know, and it was just a matter of time. I've talked about that previously. For me, no resentment at all. I'm just looking at some of the comments as well that are coming through. I don't know if you can see them as well, Kazra.
Yeah. One thing I've got one last question, and then we'll swap over to the YouTube comments as well, because there's a few that I've been spotting. So, what's next for Julian Goldie?
So for me, I'm still going to share everything that I can. I'm going to do less public case studies, but I'm still going to try and help as many people as I can with SEO for my private case studies. So all the stuff that I do in the future where it's a private case study, I'm going to share those inside my SEO mastermind to help the people who are inside that private community so that it doesn't get hit again. And I've always preferred to share that publicly for free to the whole community, but it seems like you can't anymore. And I can understand why a lot of SEOs don't show public case studies as well. For me as well, like I think if anyone is watching this and they've either been hit by a Google update or they just want to find out more information about the whole private case study situation, feel free to book in an SEO strategy session. Links in the comments. And, you know, it's a free call. You can jump on a call with our team and we can talk you through it.
Yeah, definitely. So going through some of the comments, we have got Carol Demerisimin. I've definitely butchered that second name. So this is a manual action penalty. From what I remember on the Google Search Consoles, there was no manual action. There was nothing mentioned at all.
No, that's it. That's the surprising thing. I don't know. It's still early days, right? I mean, the website could even come back and be re-indexed. That's the thing. Like, it's a brand new algorithm update. But from what I've seen, it's definitely like a personal targeting.
Yeah,
it's one of those, isn't it?
This is a really interesting one by Rhino Gaming. It was, I believe it's his second comment actually. Google uses AI themselves to show popular snippets on page 1 of search results. Maybe they just don't like competition. which is, I mean, it's an interesting angle. I quite like that. To be fair, maybe they eliminated you, Julian, because they thought you were too competitive.
Getting too much SEO traffic.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is when people say is Google against AI. It's not to say that they're against AI because Google uses AI themselves, right? But in some cases, like we actually done a video before going live, and it was to do with keyword research and how you can use Google Gemini and stuff. And I think that AI in some cases does a way better job than human. Like for example, collating information for an article. So for example, getting subheadings, or in some cases even writing the article itself, does a brilliant job. But then in some cases, you just need to go back in and actually human edit the actual content. That's when our editors come in and manually edit and tweak some of the pages and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's, like I say, it's targeting my sites, but it's
Mm.
not a target against the process, because I think probably I'm one of the biggest names, and I try and say this humbly, but I think I'm probably one of the people getting the most attention in the AI SEO space. And so it's just like a personal targeting. And I think if anyone, you know, feels demotivated by watching this, like these strategies are working, and they're working better than ever. Like as I know it in the background
Yeah.
with my own case studies. And I think one disclaimer I would say here is like, and this is why I promote the SEO checklist and adding EEAT elements, and we've done manual editing workflows in the past as well together, is like, just make sure, yeah, when you're creating content, it is optimized. Focus on the users. I'm a massive advocate of off page signals as well, and making sure you're not just doing copycat content. But I think everything that I've shared, it works really well,
Yeah.
and I'm still going to be sharing everything that I learn.
What one thing that I'll also say as well is what it'll be interesting on May 5th, because that's when they're apparently going to go after parasite SEO. So potentially, I'm not saying for 100% certainty, LinkedIn Pulse, Reddit, Quora, Outlook India, all the parasites might get hit on May 5th. That's in the actual Google PDF as well. So
I'm curious.
it'll be
I'm,
interesting.
I'm curious to hear what you think. Whether, because they're basically given like an amnesty period, right? So it's like 2 months. Either mark all your content as sponsored and that sort of thing for Parasite SEO, or get hit. And like, do you think that's going to hit the websites that are being linked to, or the websites that are hosting the subdirectory Parasite content, or what do you think is going to happen?
So I was actually speaking to Kyle on this, literally before
Yeah.
before we went live and stuff. And the helpful content modifier is domain level. So potentially, why the reason why they've came out saying that you've got a couple months to fix all your garbage content is because even if you have, let's say, 1,000 really good articles on your website and you've got 500 really bad articles here, which could be like LinkedIn Pulse or whatever else, it can pull down the 1,000 really good articles. So I think that they've potentially given like a little bit of a leeway for some of the monster websites to fix up their act and potentially remove any garbage content, or potentially mark up some of the content, like you said, is sponsored content, so they don't get hit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So we have got Jason Marculus. So if I'm hearing right, they finally came for you.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I mean, I've not had you don't get a notification or anything like that, right? And maybe they didn't, and maybe it's just like the algorithm testing a few things. But I think there's a very, very high chance
Yeah.
that, yeah, my site's got hit, because it's not my private case studies; it's only my public ones.
Yeah. So Judith AI said, okay, so what do we do to ensure we are not impacted? I
So,
think
go
not
on.
doing a public case study.
Yeah, don't be
It's-
too public. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, like you were saying, Charles has learned that, Carl's learned that, I've learned that. You all learn eventually.
yeah. What was Jackie Marculus says, what was Jackie's Reddit? I think it's not showing anymore. Potentially I'm not sure. Did Jackie have a Reddit or subreddit or
I
something?
Yeah, the subreddit. I literally just checked to see if the subreddit itself is still ranking because I saw that comment from Jason. It's a good point. It is still ranking. It's still indexed on Google. I don't know whether the individual posts inside it are still ranking, but from what I can see, the subreddit itself is ranking nicely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised that my uh, two souls, two soul 3D. I'm surprised my 10-year-old website got nuked. Um, Typically speaking, and again, I've not looked at the website, but there might be an underlying issue. It could be a content related issue. It could be a links related issue. Potentially book in with a call with Julian, and he can take a look at that further for you. Carol commented, I use so many of your strategies to build my own AI websites. Now, about 5 websites, with one yesterday reaching 500 clicks a day, all thanks to public case studies. So big thanks to you, Julian. I bet there's no better feeling than messages like that, is there?
Yeah, no, it's a really kind message, that, Carol. Thank you very much. And again, like, thanks to everyone watching.
Uh,
Mate, honestly, I think, and I see your channel as well. It's like there's so many amazing SEOs that you meet in the community who just put in the work, take massive action, and get results like this. So fair play.
Yeah, I think that on that message, it would be a good place to end the live. But yeah, it's been an interesting Wednesday. And I think that the biggest thing that I would take away from this video is the positivity that Julian's had. Like, a lot of people would be crying up in arms and be resenting Google, saying why me, having like a victim mindset. But one thing that I've picked up from Julian is the fact that from literally the word go, so since we've been doing the videos for like 2 months or 3 months now, always really positive, never really been impacted by it. And if anything, he's always stated on his YouTube videos saying that at some point I am probably going to get hit. Google will penalize me, potentially because it might have been because you've shared a little bit too much. I know that that's why the reason they went after Kyle Roof. But yeah, anything else to add, Julian?
Nah, that's it. I mean, I would say my positivity all comes down to my mentor, right? Kaz Buller, one of the best SEOs in the world. So definitely check out Kaz Buller SEO.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and thanks for letting me interview you.
All right, thanks. Amazing questions, man. Appreciate it. And if anyone wants to book in a free SEO strategy session, feel free to book that. Links in the comments if you want to check out the SEO Mastermind, where I'll be sharing my private case studies in the background to a private level, of elite SEOs. Feel free to check that out. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
All right. Thanks.
Cheers.